Position yourself to receive from God with Bishop David G. Evans teaching When Men Pray.
Have there been times when you have asked someone to pray for you and the prayer has not been answered? Because instead of praying for yourself, you waited until someone else that you thought had more power would pray for you. Prayer is something that you resort to immediately and not as a last resort. You need to learn how to pray preemptively. You need how to pray ahead of time. Don't always be praying in response. Pray proactively. Pray before it happens. Lord, cover my child. Lord, bless my day.
Develop your relationship with God with this dynamic teaching on CD or DVD when you write to us. Visit our website or call 1-800-591-8480.
It's now easier than ever to stay connected with David G. Evans and the Bethany Baptist Church family. Follow the ministry and rejoice in all that God is doing by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. On Facebook, you'll be up to date on the latest happenings, and you can watch our Sunday services on Facebook Live at 8 and 11 a.m. Eastern.
Here comes the power. Hallelujah.
Words of wisdom and encouragement can be found on Twitter, and you'll get up-to-the-minute sermon points as they happen in our weekly worship services. Follow us on Instagram and be blessed by the inspirational and special moments that are highlighted each week, and meet the people who are the heart of our ministry. And if it's video you want, subscribe to the Bethany Baptist Church channel on YouTube. See the celebrations, the special events, and the many, many people who are helping to transform lives one at a time. Stay connected with David G. Evans on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and become a member of our broadcast family today.
What if you could make one decision to unleash everything great in your life? Would you do it? Would you say yes? Aren't you tired of your relationships, your health, and so much more suffering because you lack the truth you need to change? The life you desire is within your reach. You can achieve all the success, happiness, and prosperity you deserve by simply learning the secrets that lead to real personal transformation. Change is hard, but not impossible. You just have to make one radical decision to get real. And there's no better authority on the real steps to change than David G. Evans.
Some men trust in chariots. Some men trust in horses. But we will trust in the Lord.
David G. Evans is leading the charge to bring you the power to change your life. He is committed to the mission of helping you transform and become a person of power, and it starts with his all-new system to change your situation. At the centerpiece of this life-altering collection is David Evans' groundbreaking training course, From Ridiculous to Radical to Real, This Means War. In this series, you will discover the steps to change. This series includes 2 powerful messages, each on winning the battle in your mind and cultivating a language of faith. That's 4 messages, 4 power-filled hours of material. If you want a better marriage, this series has the answers. If you want to achieve financial independence God's way, the secrets in this series will empower you to make it happen. If you want a life of power, anointing, and influence, this series will show you how to get it, and there's more. You're looking for serious, immediate results. So Bishop Evans will also include one of his best-selling messages called Weapon of Warfare. This classic teaching will build you up to start fighting in the spirit for what you deserve. This powerhouse collection, From Ridiculous to Radical to Real and Weapon of Warfare, will give you all the biblical strategies you need to change anything in your life. This collection will ship to you immediately with your gift today to David G. Evans Ministries. This ministry is revolutionizing the kingdom by empowering believers. Souls are being saved daily, and we need your help to grow this impact in a real way. Call now and sow your seed of just $35 for your transformation to help people around the world. Your $35 love gift goes straight to the front lines of ministry, providing help to those that need it most. Call now. Make the decision to get the power you need to change your life forever.
Well, praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to OnPointe, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on any smart device at David G. Evans 1. Of course, I welcome the most intelligent, critically thinking callers in the world to our OnPointe program today, and I also welcome those of you who are joining us for the very first time as we seek to talk about those things that are impacting religion, culture, politics, and sports. Just an amazing time that we live in, amazing time that we are experiencing, how God has been absolutely showing us some things we've never seen before. And I am just glad to be a part of the conversation with you today. If you want to give me a call today, it's 866-743-8267. That's 866-743-8267. That's 866-74-EVANS. Give us a call, toll free, anywhere in the country. We get callers from all over the place, all over the country: Texas, Florida, Kentucky, California, you name it, the Carolinas, you name it, and we get our OnPointe family is expanding by the week. We're so honored to receive your calls and to have conversations with you about the things that really matter to you today. Pastor Nick will be with us in just a second. I want to remind you now, this is the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, and we are just honored to have you join us today. Pastor Nick is here with us as we begin our conversation. Always culture, religion, politics, sports, current events, but always from a kingdom of God perspective, always from that biblical foundation. It drives our answers, drives our understanding, drives our beliefs, drives our insights. What's happening, man?
Okay, how you doing? I knew I was forgetting something, but
I think of course, politics is at the front of everything. Was talking about this business that Gates has gotten himself into. Just wonder, when did our elected officials decide? What was it under the last presidency that blatant misbehavior became acceptable?
that's my thing. Where did this all come from? I think, because it seemed like there's more of an out frontness with it.
Almost as though, excuse me, I think because some people saw our previous president apparently get away with things that would have destroyed other people.
Yep.
That they're believing they can do so also. But I was shocked to see him go from it's all false to, can you give me a blanket pardon? Now, a blanket pardon is being pardoned for anything that he may have done wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, this is not being published, I'm sure that when he asked for the blanket pardon, I'm sure people started asking for details.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you need a pardon for?
Right. Yeah.
Because, everything can be pardoned except murder, I think.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Okay, so a blanket pardon would have covered these misdeeds that he is being accused of. But then they said yesterday that there's a problem for him now because his cohort evidently has begun to talk.
Okay.
And it's turned state's evidence.
Yeah. I think their willingness, that part of America's desire to hold on to their America, they're willing to accept whoever as long as they maintain their view of America.
You don't think the possibility of this underage involvement would be enough to turn them off? Well, it wasn't enough for the president, was it?
Yes, that's
Okay.
the thing. Their view,
I answered my own question.
as long as they're doing their part to keep the America they want, they'll put up. Who would have thought that, the 90s, all of a sudden, the party of faith and family,
Right.
Bill Clinton has an indiscretion.
Right. They want to kill him. They want to kill him.
blow the whole thing up.
They want to kill him.
And some of these same folk, well,
Yeah, we didn't
Grace
elect a
and,
pope. We
you know,
elected
yeah.
a president, and kinder, gentler, and just the contradictions are just so apparent. I'm like when Mr. McConnell came out the other day and said that business ought to stay out of politics.
right, yeah, that part, yeah.
And then he comes back and tries to clean up, saying, except when they want to support a campaign.
Yeah.
Well, no.
No.
If you don't want me in your politics and you want me to have a voice,
Yep.
you want me to give you the money, but you don't want
Yep.
to do the things that benefit me, nor do you want to hear my voice when I disagree with something that you're doing.
Yep.
And when he first said it, and I saw that, I happened to be watching the TV, and I saw the news conference, I said, he didn't really say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said immediately, so you don't want their money either?
Yep. No, I want that.
But then he came back and said, well, we want your money. We just don't want you to say anything if you don't agree with
Yep.
it.
And that's the thing. Him and all those other people pushed through that Citizens United, where corporations are now people. That's what you guys wanted. But then when Frankenstein, when it turns on you, then all of a sudden you got an issue. Like, come on. And Delta, I think Delta, Coke and all them, they're all based in Georgia.
Are they?
Yeah. I know Coca-Cola was founded in Georgia. I think Delta's main hub is in Georgia.
Yes.
And you got all those people, that huge state, saying, we got a problem. Of course they're going to say, we need to make some
But
adjustments.
here's the thing that bothers me about it. They were so slow giving an opinion.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't protest it when they should have, which would have been before it became law.
Yep.
Now the president's going to have to pass a federal law to override all that local stuff. And I think he should.
Yeah.
I actually think it's wrong for Americans every few years to have to sit through the government reaffirming they have a right to vote.
Yep.
Do you have any historic perspective on why they never passed this once and for all?
The way they put it is this, is that people have a right to vote, but the process of them voting is can change. So in their eyes, we're not taking away your ability to vote, because you still can. It's just we have principles that can make it harder for you to do it.
But here's my problem.
That's the crazy. It's crazy, but
They're not just making it hard for other people, they're making it hard for their own folk to vote. Maybe I'm missing it. They seem to be riding a different color bus, in the sense that virtually everything they have tried to do has caused them to lose the following elections.
Yeah.
Who is at the wheel of their thought tank? Who's saying, okay, is there anybody in the room that's saying, wait a minute, you guys, this is not going to work.
Yep.
Our own people are going to be negatively affected. We can't do this way. Because their people have to stand in line too.
Yeah. Now, part of it is they're doing it in certain municipalities.
We're only doing it where black people
Yeah,
live.
and then the other part.
Let's be frank.
Yeah,
now. Come on now.
Right.
Come on.
And the other part is they're not looking at how the other side is getting their answers ready for all this stuff. They're talking about the places where they're shutting down all these polling places. They're going to rent buses. So we can't pass out water in the line? Cool. We'll bring a whole.
They're going to bring their own.
They're going to have a whole slew of stuff already set up. And all they're going to do is make the situation, make this other side more ferocious.
They're just, I'm watching these things happen. It's like this. You vote against a COVID bill, and McConnell says, it's not that we disagree with it. I'm just not going to support it.
Yeah.
So now what we really need for the Democrats to do, what we need for the president to do, is actually take the gloves off if he wants to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Because not only did it not make sense to vote against COVID, which, again, someone with sense is not at the wheel of the Republican Party right now. Because you don't want to vote against that.
Right.
Then we're going to see where they're going to vote against the infrastructure bill. Because they don't think that internet in this day and time is infrastructure.
Yep.
Well, it is infrastructure now. But once again, they think their people are the folk that have it, And the folk that support Republicans that are in rural areas, they're kind of discounting.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm wondering now, you're voting against something that's going to create, ideally, millions of jobs. Mm-hmm. You're voting against something to help us with the pandemic. I made an observation, and I need your opinion on this. Someone has made the decision in Republican-led states that the dollars are worth more than the people. Because these decisions are absolutely putting people in danger. Now, I am not taking responsibility off the citizens. Because just because they say you can come to a baseball game and pack a stadium doesn't mean
you should go do it.
That you should go do it.
Lord have mercy.
So all of a sudden the governor said we could go to the game, so let's go.
Yep. And then wonder why all these spikes keep happening in their state. I mean, that Texas game was just atrocious to see all those people in the stands, like 30-some-odd thousand people.
And they're talking about there's no spike yet. I'm glad they put yet on it.
Yep.
Because it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a minute to manifest, but it's coming, and it's not going to be pretty down there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we need to stop acting like COVID respects state lines.
Yep, it doesn't.
All the neighboring states are now in jeopardy because of what how Texas is behaving.
Yep.
Alabama's behaving irresponsibly. New York and New Jersey, you know, steadily increasing capacities when they're in the top 5 in the nation as far as spikes are concerned and contamination. It doesn't make any sense.
Not at all. Not at all.
And all those people that tried to tell me, well, it's not happening in the schools, I was talked to like I didn't know what I was talking about. And now I'm starting to get requests for children who caught COVID and go to school. Now, the people in the education system are saying, well, they didn't catch it at school. How do you know?
How do you know that? There's one place where a bunch of teachers and administrators went to a bar. Like 46 people, I think, got the virus from going to the bar.
Okay.
Some of them went into the schools. Some of the kids caught it.
Of
They had
course.
to shut the school down.
Of course.
Because, again, the kids may not have the worst effects of it, but who are they passing it on to when they go home? And this new variant that's out, it's like,
There's too much what if. We're not really aware of the impact of the variant yet. All we know is that 30 or 40% of the new cases are this variant, and it's the one from England. It's supposed to be more virulent and more possibilities of going to hospital. And now the young population is catching it. But now the school children are catching it. I had no idea until I was told recently that there were 2 or 3 schools, maybe 4 schools in Philly that they had to shut down once they opened because it exploded. But they're acting like, you know, the kids are walking to a school building and all of a sudden there'll be this, you know, supernatural immunity. It's not true.
It's not true. It's not true. And it's not like you can throw a bunch of sacrificial lambs out there and say, well, y'all take it and let it go away. This is not how this works, especially with the way it mutated. You got, I think I saw yesterday, like 4 different variations.
Man, it's probably 6 by now.
Yeah. It was the South Africa, UK,
you got
California
South American one. California has their own. New York has their own.
The South Africa has one. I think the South African one is over here now. And the UK one, like you said, is over here.
I think when they said there was a UK strain, I don't know, I think I was in my office, I think one of the security guys was in there, I said, okay, it's here now. You know, COVID catches planes, trains, buses, and boats. You know, so it's, and this whole thing about the schools being protected, I think it's bogus, and I think rushing them back in is not going to decrease the problem. It's going to help contribute to the problem. And to me, whether they catch it in school or caught it at home, it doesn't matter. You know, I don't think your kids need to be exposed to this so they can give it to other people. It's just, how are we going to stop the flow if we keep congregating people together?
And that another country tried the herd immunity.
Oh, failed. It failed. Sweden, wasn't it?
I think it's one of the it completely backfired.
Start killing people left and right.
This is not one of those, you know, herd immunity type things.
You don't want to catch this. No, you don't want to catch this.
There's a 23-year-old guy who was at one of the tournament games, the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
He was one of Alabama's, like, their super fans. He caught the virus at one of the games, died like a couple days later.
Oh no.
whatever round that was, but it doesn't matter the round. But he was there, so now the NCAA is investigating, supposed to be what happened, how he caught it. Well, you got a stadium with people in there.
Here's my problem. Here's my problem.
Like, come on.
Virtually, it's a numbers game. Okay, so some of the players got through, thankfully,
Yeah.
without obviously being infected. Now, we don't know which one of them were asymptomatic.
Yeah.
One or two teams had to drop out of the tournament because of the number of COVID cases.
Yep.
They had 4 or 5, so that meant you had to withdraw, which means there were other teams that may have only had 1 or 2 that they let continue to play.
Yep. And to me, this is like a situation because some kids need to be in a learning environment because they either the parents can't do it for them or they just don't have the discipline to do it themselves. However, in situations like this, I think our government should be able to step up, work with businesses. So if you have to homeschool your kids, there's some flexibility, there's some stuff that you can do to help out. This is not like we just want to throw some stimulus out there. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a different situation.
I get it. You know, I saw an article the other day that really shocked me where parents were protesting a school district's rule not to play team sports. You need to let them play. What?
Right.
The whole point is to slow this thing down, not give it a place to multiply.
Exactly.
I'm confused.
But they're not thinking through. America.
I think they are.
Yeah, they just don't care. America has this I got my rights, I got my freedoms thing.
My kid needs to play football. How about my kid needs to live?
Right. I need to live.
And his parents and his grandparents. What about that?
Yeah.
And trust me, the child won't be maladjusted for the rest of his life if he misses his football season or two.
Right.
Come on,
I
man.
mean, when you get a little older, when perspective kicks in, it changes how you see
Was
things.
the game going to be worth it?
Right.
866-743-8267. We've got 2 calls. I can't see any names on the board. 866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. We're going to go to line 1, and we don't know who's there, but I'm sure they'll tell us. Good morning. This is OnPointe. Welcome.
Good morning, Bishop.
Hey, Rob. What's going on?
Pastor Nick. This is your Bethany reporter today. And Pastor Nick is my researcher.
Okay.
And Bishop, and you were the owner of this network.
Okay. Okay. What's going on?
How y'all doing today? I'm just in such a good mood here lately. I just give God the glory. I'm just so happy. I just got so much joy in my heart.
Good.
So much joy.
That means you must be getting closer to the Lord.
Hey, who you telling?
Yeah, because the closer you get to Him, the better you feel.
Yes. Yes, and when the trials and tribulations come, it's like, okay, God, I know your word.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, Lord. But I guess you got a little upset, Bishop, when you hit that desk and you was talking about the kids getting the virus.
I think I don't know if common sense has flown the coop, but if you catch it, if you catch it in groups, and you start increasing the size of the groups, why is everybody surprised when the thing starts to multiply?
Yeah.
And I need people to understand. Just because you say you only had 40 people in the room, 50 people in the room, 100 people in the room, COVID doesn't know that kind.
Right. Yep.
There's no difference between 2 and 50.
Yep.
But they're saying, well, we had the legal amount. Evidently, COVID has no regard for
a legal amount
for what you've mandated.
COVID doesn't know anything about legal.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I'm going to be quick.
Never. Go ahead.
Bishop, Pastor Nick may have heard too. You might have heard too, Bishop. But I was kind of really stunned. I'm like, this world is just really losing it. Rapper and singer, what's the name? Lil Nas-X.
Lil Nas X.
Yeah.
Yes, regarding
The church, y'all feed this stuff too much. If you just be quiet and let it go away, it'll go away. Why do y'all?
I was just shocked to read people brought those shoes.
He is a professional troll, and he wanted a reaction from church folk, and guess what he got?
A reaction
from them. That's all he was trying to do.
Now tell me,
Wow.
for those of us that may not know, what is a professional troll?
A professional troll is
Yeah,
I
I
put
don't know
stuff
either.
out there just to
Get a
garner
reaction?
a reaction and
Okay,
attention.
okay.
And then I basically respond in sarcasm and other trolling things.
So you start talking back
Yeah, start talking back.
and feed it.
This guy
Okay.
knows how to troll people.
Okay.
So
Especially church folk.
now this is where some people may not agree with me on this.
Okay,
Just
that's
hear me
all right.
out. He is gay, of course.
Okay.
He's like in his early 20s.
Okay.
He had some issues with church growing up,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
People are talking about why is he putting stuff out like this to get back at the church.
Okay.
I think he's wrong for doing that.
Okay.
But here's my bigger question.
Okay.
What environment was he in that helped create this type of person? Because not everybody grows up in a good church environment.
That's true.
Amen to that.
So while the church is saying, yo, you shouldn't be making a video like that or making shoes like this, who's asking him the question, why did you feel this way about these people?
So why doesn't he just come out and say that?
That's mature.
Okay.
I'm thinking from the outside looking in,
Okay.
from a
Okay.
you know.
Okay. Okay.
If we're counseling somebody who had a bad church trauma,
Okay.
our first question is, well, what happened?
Right.
Let's talk about, what happened so we can fix the situation.
Okay.
But again, he wanted a reaction from Christians, and guess what?
He
They
got
gave it to him.
I
Yeah,
was just shocked to read it.
I think what happens a lot of times is people. I don't like the fact that when it comes to church,
Mhm.
people like to talk about what was done to them,
Mhm.
but they rarely include what they
done.
did.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
find that to be unfortunately consistent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the kid that runs home and says, "Johnny hit me,"
Yeah.
but never says, "I went upside Johnny's head first."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know. So,
Yeah.
so it's and here's the thing. I think that people have a right
Mhm.
to search for an environment which gives them comfort.
Right.
So if he wasn't in an environment, I'm just supposing,
Mhm.
that made him comfortable,
Mhm.
there was another place that would have made him comfortable.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, you can help me with this. When I was a young boy, I don't recall being a part of my grandmother's church, and there were not a few people who were obviously gay.
Mm-hmm.
The African American church has always been open to not only multicultural,
Mhm.
but multi-choices as it relates to your sexuality. I can recall having, I don't know if they call them transvestites now, what they call them, transgenders now?
Transgender, yeah.
Transgender people at my grandmother's church. I recall that. I recall a gay man with a processed older man being on the usher board. I recall those things, singing in the choir, playing the instrument. Because the African American church has always been a whosoever will kind of place.
Right.
Now, I don't know what kind of situation happened in other places, but the churches I grew up in were whosoever will.
Yeah.
Let him come.
Yeah.
And the transformation, if there was going to be one, would happen after you got in there.
Well, there are some churches who, I was like maybe 12, 13,
Okay.
around however old he was a kid. Where some churches that we know, where the pastors are a little heavy-handed on the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
It's not in a loving way.
Then why
presentation.
stay there?
I don't know the history
Okay.
dynamics of his parent.
Okay.
I think he was living with his father and
Okay.
a part of the church. So, and he was a kid, so I don't know how that whole thing
And sometimes,
worked out.
sometimes
or if
one
he
of,
just had to go.
one of the dilemmas I've seen among straight parents with a gay child is them not handling the pronouncement and the choice well,
Yeah.
and kind of throwing it to the church. And if the church is not sensitive enough to know how to handle the situation, then the child finds themselves without any resource.
Yeah.
And then I think some negativity could develop. But still, at the end of the day, not all churches are alike.
No.
I think you know what I
That's
think.
so true.
You know what I think that aggravates me when people simply say the church.
Yeah. Just say your church.
Yeah, your church, or the one you used to go to.
Yep.
But not the church.
Right.
Like every church in the country
Yeah.
is. But I think that's a psychological,
Yeah.
not ploy, device.
Right.
to be able to reject church at large.
At large, yep. Because it was your experience.
Yeah, reject. Yeah. So my neighborhood is how the whole world is.
Yep.
You know, no.
I remember one time. Now this gentleman.
Thank you, Rob.
This gentleman was white.
Years
ago. He had to be in his early 20s. He came down to the altar and got saved.
Yep.
You picked me to counsel.
Okay.
Took him back to my office, and I laying out the Romans Road piece, and he said, "Look, I want to get saved, but I can't because I have an unforgivable sin." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, unforgivable?" I'm searching through scripture. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, the Bible says, "Whosoever will." Da, 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 da. And I'm explaining to him, like, just share with me, because he kept insisting on it. What is your issue? He's like, "I'm gay," and I said, "Okay." He said, "No, I'm gay." I said, "I heard you the first time. I don't see what's the problem, you know?" And then he said, lo and behold, he said, "I'm gay. My parents never knew it. I grew up in a household and went to a church where they told us God hates all gay people.
Okay.
And all gay people are going to hell."
Okay.
And he said, if you looked at him, you would never know he was gay.
Okay. You wouldn't.
No, I mean, it was my early 20s.
Yeah, you wouldn't at that time.
And he was like, I mean, literally, straight, like, everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, my parents never knew I was gay, so I grew up thinking that God hated me.
Okay.
He would never accept me.
Okay.
And I can never give my life to him.
Wow.
And then and that spoke volumes to me.
What Bible were they teaching him?
That's the thing. And after I walked through the scriptures with him, he gave his life to the Lord, and he was appreciative, like, "Yo, I've never heard this side of God before."
In his entire life?
In his entire life.
Not even from his parents?
Not even from his parents. Now, part of me wonders if his parents knew he was gay.
I'm sure they did.
But they were using that language with the hopes that he would change.
But that's not how you inspire change.
Yeah.
The Lord said, the Lord demonstrates love first provided is the platform for change in anybody's life.
Absolutely.
The platform for change in anybody's life. So I don't know how this misconception happened. You know, fishermen fish, birds fly, hunters hunt, sinners sin.
Right. Thank you. That's the whole premise. That's what they do. Like, come on.
So the whole point is to have the redemptive experience so that you can break the continuity of what appears to be normal.
Thank you.
So sinners sin less. Sinners hopefully one day stop sinning. It's all about the work of God.
Right.
You know.
They're like, why is this person doing this? Because you're right. They are sinners. That's what sinners do.
Doc, come on now. Robin, thank you. Who am I talking to? Robin. Robin's gone. Okay, we're back online when Robin's back? No. We're going to Tom on line 3. Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing, Brother Nick?
Doing good, man. You guys all right down there in Florida?
Of course. You know, our governor's a little goofy, but, you know, other than that, we're all right.
Okay.
You were saying something about the thing that was going on in Texas, and they have not found people, sick yet. Well, PBS last night was saying there's a reason we haven't found people sick yet. We won't see them till they hit the hospital because nobody's testing anymore because everybody's giving the vaccine out. All these sites that at one time were testing people are no longer testing, so you're not going to see anybody, these cases hit, not unless they hit the hospital. And that's the scary part about what's going on now.
But that's giving a false narrative.
Exactly. And
that's that whole. What's that President Trump said? If you test less, you won't have as much disease. That's stupid.
And you know what? Mar-a-Lago is not that far from me. And this guy Gates, the guy who did the junket with the with the ladies of the evening. Allegedly. This weekend, he's going to Mar-a-Lago. Now, down here in Florida, it's a big deal. They were on the news last night talking about it, and this one guy, I really think he hit it right on the nose. He said the guy's doubling down because his mentor is Trump, and he's just acting like Trump. Like,
Yeah, but he's not Trump.
Yeah.
He's not Trump, but he's doubling down because he's looking and seeing, those things work for him. Maybe they'll work for me. That kind of thing.
Well, they're going to try it, but these guys don't understand. I think Chauvin is being sacrificed. Mm-hmm. I think Gates is going to be sacrificed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no way it's not going to happen.
And the other thing you're talking about what's going on in Georgia. I know it makes no sense, but states' rights are such a big deal with this voting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the feds are trying to stay out. I think they really need to get in,
mm-hmm.
but they're trying to stay out because of states' rights, and each state has their own right on how you do your voting.
But I think what's going to force this is what I don't understand about the people that are in charge of these states. You can't put yourself in a position where the federal government is mandated to react. You start to break federal segregation, discrimination laws, and the government has to get in. I don't know who's minding the switches around these places. You do things until you break a federal law, and then the government has a doorway in. And most of them were so short-sighted. One of the things that I found with people, Tom, is this. Sometimes people can be so intent on doing things to you that they fail to guard their back door.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just so obvious that this is not two-dimensional thinking that we're dealing with right now.
Yes, and they're looking they aren't looking forward enough to understand the back door's open.
Absolutely. And the other thing that should be, they ought to have a little pattern recognition. Everything they've tried to do for the past 2 years to hinder the president being Biden has failed. It's backfired. Now they're going to talk about water and stuff. Come on, man. You can bring your own water. Come on, man. So you're going to make folk rent buses now? To get to the polls? I mean, come on.
Bishop, we got something else going on down here. Our governor is suing the federal government.
For what?
You know what? It's a double-edged sword. The cruise industry.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
You know what? I ride by one of the cruise places every day when I go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And there's you know what? You never see the cruise ships out there, only on Mondays. Man, there's 8 of those big boys lined up in the harbor, and they've been sitting there. Now you got Miami, you got Fort Lauderdale, you got Palm Beach,
mm-hmm.
where you got major cruises going out. And I understand these people are not working. I understand that totally. But you let one of those cruise ships get infected, and nobody wants to let them back in the country.
Man, it's a petri dish, man. Mm. It's a bacterial breeding ground. You can't have anybody infected in that closed environment for what, a week or 2 at a time?
Yeah. And the thing is, just wait until June, July, when this thing is getting under control. But he wants them to go out now. And I ride
it's
by.
all about the money.
About the money, right?
That's all they care about.
It's all about the money. All about the Benjamins.
Yeah, man. You stay safe, Tom. We're good to hear from you again, man.
Hey, take care.
Talk to you. Bye-bye. Kife, how you doing?
All right, how are you, Bishop?
Doing all right. Welcome to OnPointe once again. What's your comment today?
Well, I was just listening to what you were saying to the earlier caller, and one thing is that I am, kind of in agreement, but sometimes I would have to disagree on what President Biden or ex-President Trump is doing. I mean, to find out the truth, logical truth, and it's going crazy. And I think that, like you had said, because I was listening, and I said Biden's failing. I feel like he is, but on the other hand, it seems.
Tell me why you think he's failing.
Well, I'm not sure I can say, but sometimes I feel like I know how they say you uphold the Constitution, but sometimes when a president gets into office, do they really accept the fact that they want to uphold the truth of being, truthful to what they want to do. Because I don't think that every president has had uphold. I'm not sure if the last few presidents have. I can't even put Trump in that, but I mean, Trump failed us all. But now, again, and I'm thinking about Henry running again in 2024. I will escape to Alaska escape to Canada if that ever happens. But the thing is, my question is, my question is this, and then I have a comment afterwards. My question is, how often do you think a president says he will uphold the Constitution, but then after, let's say, maybe the first year or the first 2 years in office, things start to debacle? When Trump was in office, I think things debacled in his category. And, everyone was blaming him for this and that. Now you talk about the wall situation. What are you and Pastor Nick's thoughts on that?
I'm not sure I'm following your question,
Yeah,
Keith.
I'm not sure.
I think I'm still stuck on waiting for you to tell me how you think President Biden has failed in these first 80, 90 days.
Well, I can't say how, but, he says, I didn't see some of his press conferences on TV, but in my mind, I think he has failed because he's supposed to do this and supposed to do that. But in my thing is, can we really trust Biden?
Okay,
Like,
back me up. Okay. So what you seem to be saying, and we've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
What you seem to be saying is that I haven't seen anything. I just feel like he has failed.
Right. Yes.
Do you understand that's a contradictory statement?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay. And what did you want him to do that he has not done yet?
Well, okay. I know he's I could say I praise him for pulling us out of this hole which we're in, which is during this pandemic time. I praise him for that. But otherwise, he says he wants to continue the wall. He wants to do this. He wants to do that.
Did he say he wanted to continue?
No, he didn't say he wanted to continue the
Okay.
wall.
I was checking.
No, he didn't say that. Where are you getting your news from, man?
No. I'm articles have a reason.
But where are you getting it from? Social media?
Somewhat like that. Or if I happen to have,
You can't believe everything.
Keith,
on
you
social
can't
media.
believe everything you read on social media, bro.
yeah, you're right. I don't believe all that, but
It sounds like you do, man. It sounds like you do, Keith.
not really. But the only thing is, Bishop and Pastor Nick, can a president really uphold for what he's going to do while he's in office?
I believe he can within limits. Let's take Obama for instance.
Okay.
Most of the people, when I'm talking to people and they say he didn't do anything, they conveniently forget that the Republican Party decided at the beginning of his first term that they were going to make him a failed president, which meant no matter how good his suggestions were, they were going to vote against it. Most people don't think about that you have to have the cooperation of the Congress and the Senate in most cases to get anything done. Now, McConnell has just declared that, he doesn't care what the president does. He's just going to vote against it. Nobody will vote. Why would you vote against a COVID bill? Why would you vote against an infrastructure bill that obviously will impact most of your constituents?
Well, you know what? I think I have some knowledge of that because, with so much going on, McConnell can't make up his mind. And, that puts us, people who watch the news saying, what is he going to do? And
what is who going to do?
Say again?
What is who going to do?
McConnell.
McConnell has already said not a Republican will vote for these things. Not one.
Right.
Now, for no other reason other than I want to be a contrarian, I want to be an obstructionist. But of course, it's not obstructionism. I don't think that the president can play hardball, but I do think he is maneuvering them extremely well.
Yeah.
Because he's not making the same mistake that President Obama made.
Right.
You can't have the bully pulpit of the world and not put stuff out there. Okay, we're trying to do this, but these people won't let us do it.
Yep.
You have to keep doing that.
Absolutely. And he's been in the Senate all those years. He knows how to play that Congress.
But I think he kind of was hoping that because of that relationship, that McConnell would behave a little better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
McConnell's not on his side, and he needs to start treating him like he's not on his side.
Yeah.
I can say this because the one thing I know, I could say I follow politics, but something has got to, as they say, give. But and then give, and it's still like a brick wall with the people in Congress.
Well, because it's not about people anymore.
Right.
It's not even about money as much as it is just about power. And one group of people looking right versus another group of people. It's just, but what bothers me about the political system, I know it's necessary, but what bothers me about it is they seem to forget, one party or the other seems to forget about the people that are supposed to benefit from them being in office.
Right.
I mean, anywhere else in the world, if you were paying someone to work for you, which is what we do,
Right.
you would expect better job performance out of them than this.
Yeah, that's so true.
We
Because, I mean,
we got to move on, man. I'm glad you called.
no problem, Bishop.
Talk to you soon now.
Take it easy.
Bye bye.
All right.
Let's go to. We got time for. Where are we?
Danny.
Danny's on line what? 3?
We got to move on, man.
Oh,
I'm glad you called.
Who's this? Danny? Is that you?
Talk to you soon now. Bye-bye.
I think he's line 1.
Danny's on line 1. Hey, Dan. Danny. Uh-oh. Hello.
Hello?
That's,
This is Danny. Is that you?
that's Angela.
I don't know who I got.
Angela.
Hey, Dan.
Oops. Danny.
Bishop.
Hey, man.
Good morning.
Angela, call back, please. We lost you. How you doing, man? Welcome to On Point again. How's my sister doing?
Great, Bishop. We're just observing in what's going on and things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say good morning to you, Pastor Nick, and staff. And see, the weather's pretty good up there now, right?
He's being smart
It's
again.
getting better.
He's being smart
Yeah, I
again.
know he is.
Yeah, he's being smart.
Attention.
It's all right, Dan. So what's the weather down there today?
I guess we'll probably get up in the high 80s. Probably.
That's cool. I can't deal with y'all summers. It's too hot down there.
Well, I don't
And
mind.
sometimes
I don't mind the heat.
You
man.
walk outside, you start sweating
I don't mind
just
the
from
heat.
standing there.
I don't mind
No,
heat. Just
man.
go back inside where it's cool if you
Take
got a problem.
3 million showers.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Give me
But
give me the heat, Doc.
comment on something that you had predicted weeks ago, Bishop,
Okay.
where you said that where the people were going out and doing these crazy things.
Yeah.
Particularly here in South Florida, where all the young people came in and they were getting together, ignoring the mandated masks, they were ignoring the social distancing, etc. We had the Super Bowl. We had the governor running around without a mask, and he was more or less telling, not saying it, but they were visibly seeing him doing that. So they said, okay, it's okay. Now, what they're finding and what's not being reported is that there has been a tremendous increase in the deaths of young people, 25 and under, with COVID.
Wow. I'm not
And-
surprised though, Dan. I'm not
It's like
surprised.
you were warning. You said, something that's going to happen, where it's going to. Now that everyone has gone back to their homes, gone back to various parts of the United States, it's happening and it's going on.
Yeah.
Because now the focus is on getting the vaccinations and not on testing.
You know what's really strange, Dan? Something was brought up to me the other day. You have heard very little, if any, reports of flu during the winter season.
Mm-hmm.
It is obviously because of the mask wearing and distancing and hand washing.
Yep.
So why would a state like Wisconsin decide to lift the mask mandate statewide if in fact you do have proof the transmission of virulence has decreased and will decrease if you wear a mask?
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense to me, Danny. It just, so Wisconsin lifts the ban statewide.
Yep.
You don't have to wear your mask statewide anymore. They're actually banning the statewide mask policy.
Yep.
At the same time, the COVID response coordinator admits that COVID deaths would have been less if the Trump administration had acted earlier and been more strategic.
I wish you would have said that when he was in office still.
Because they act like never mind, I can't say that.
Yeah.
Okay, no, they act like they are without strength.
Yeah. You was with him in office.
I had to sanctify what I was getting ready to say.
She was lying the whole time he was in office, and now all of a sudden wants to come out and tell the truth.
Come on, man.
And the other thing, Bishop, that I want to comment on is on the what Biden is trying to do with the infrastructure of the United States, period, and where the Republicans are fighting against it. It's comical. It's really ridiculous because of the fact. Let's look at Kentucky, for instance. They have bridges that are joining other states that need to be repaired immediately. They're literally falling apart.
They say Kentucky's got problems all over the state.
Yeah.
All over the state. And where they were showing one cement manufacturer that was, I believe, was in Ohio. He cannot bring cement over a bridge. He has to set limits. They have to go half capacity because they can't take but so much weight on a bridge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're paying extra money instead of sending in one truck. Now you have to send 2 trucks.
But that's not going to stop, from what I understand, Mr. McConnell, from the partnership he has with this Russian concrete manufacturer. They're bringing a plant into Kentucky. That's not going to stop that, though, is it?
No.
I'm trying to tell you something, man.
And then the situation with the water pipes and things like that, just think that if you replace the pipes that have lead in it and all these other things, you look at Flint, Michigan, and other places like that, the rate of cancer and all these other things, mind situations that people are getting sick mentally because of these things. You know, it's just an oxymoron the way that they think.
Yeah. Did you, Danny? Did you change the subject for this? Did you read where the ex-NFL ball player shot all those people out?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was crazy.
Is there any background on him yet? Are they saying anything else about him?
I didn't even know who he was. He probably had a mental.
Well, he might have had that concussion syndrome also.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, I know personally 1 or 2 guys. Waters, who of course took his life, and used to go to the church when we were at the old church, from the Eagles, and then another young man I know from the Eagles who, former Eagle, who is suffering from severe head trauma, so much so that his family has to basically just take care of him.
Yeah.
So it's when I saw it, I'm like, well, what was wrong with him?
Yeah.
And that brings up, Danny, are you a pro-gun guy?
No, because of my relationship with the war and things like that.
I'm going to ask a simple question, and I want our callers to kind of chime in on this. Isn't the fact that there are some people, the laws that are trying to be suggested are not for competent people who can responsibly own firearms?
Right.
Correct.
The laws are designed to help hinder those who obviously should not have access to firearms. So you can reduce the number of people that are getting killed by people who should have never had a gun in the first place. Yep. Why is that an assault on your right to own firearms if you're trying to keep them out of the hands of people who shouldn't have them in the first place?
This is the contradiction I see with them.
Okay.
Let's make it harder for people to vote, but easier for people to have guns. A 2% variation in people doing illegal voting stuff versus 133 mass shootings, there's no comparison. Like, you want to go through all these laws for a 2%?
I don't understand. How is you protest? Americans are a little insane.
Yeah.
When seatbelts were put in, when that seatbelt law was put in, people protested like nobody's business, Pastor Nick.
Yep, I heard.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I want to go through the windshield, I should have the right to do so. You know. Come on,
Never
man.
mind who you hurt.
No. And you know, so if we don't, we're okay with having a law for driver's licenses. But we're not okay with restrictive laws that pertains to guns. I don't understand the logic with this.
Yeah. And then the same thing is as to you have to have these different laws, but someone can ride a motorcycle at 200 miles an hour with no helmet.
It's just silly.
Yeah.
The problem I'm having is that, okay, if you're in a vehicle you're breaking the law. You want to kill yourself. That's your option. But normally other people are involved.
Absolutely.
Involved.
Absolutely.
You know, it doesn't seem so hard to me, and I believe in the right to bear arms, but I also believe that you ought to have more than a 15-minute background check before you give somebody a weapon that can kill 500 people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know. All right, Danny. I'm flustered, man. Have a nice 80-some degree day.
Hey, we really appreciate last weekend. Great.
Oh, man. Thank you so much for helping us out, too.
Yeah.
We appreciate you joining us for the weekend, man. It was a great experience up here, too.
Good job, Bethany. Thank you.
Talk to you now. Bye-bye.
All right.
Let's go to Angela from Kentucky, and then we're going to Sharon from Dallas. We in good time?
About 5 minutes left.
Okay. Angela,
Good morning. Good morning, Bishop.
how you doing?
Doing wonderful. Good morning, Pastor Nick.
What's going on down in the Bluegrass State?
Oh, we're just kind of moseying along here, as Southerners do.
Yeah.
I have my question is about the George Floyd case.
Okay.
My question is, how do you think it's going? Where do you think it's going? And what do you think is going to be the community's reaction to the verdict?
Well, I think a couple of things have been kind of barometers to me. Number one, that $32 million settlement, the civil suit. And I didn't know, was that a first victory for the attorney?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. You know, so you got the civil suit. That was an indicator. But the biggest indicator to me, based on my premise that I have stated before, that I believe there's a white supremacist element in the police force nationally. They're in there. I believe that I've never seen, in my lifetime, I've never seen as many police officers of rank testify against an officer. I've never seen it before. Maybe some of the other people have, but maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention. But I've never seen officer after officer after officer, medical examiner after medical examiner. I haven't seen it in this concentration. I believe that they have decided to sacrifice this guy.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
Yep. Because if they let him off, it's going to be.
It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem.
Yep.
It's going to be a problem because here's the thing. Here's the thing. You cannot kill a person on national TV by choking them.
Right.
Yep.
You cannot look like you're enjoying the experience.
Yep.
Right.
And you cannot do it with such abandon as if you already know I can do this and get away with it. That was the look that he had on his face. Like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And I think he knew he was killing the boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think when he took him out of the car to subdue him was kind of an indicator of what his motives were.
And they supposedly had some history or something.
Okay.
Like they worked at the same club at one time as bouncers.
I did hear about that before earlier last year.
But it seems I can't watch the trial every day.
I don't watch it at all.
I mean, I every now and then, just to stay current, I'll tip in and tip out real fast. But the thing that is really upsetting and offensive to me is that the man who was murdered is on trial.
Yep.
Amazing,
Always.
isn't it?
Always.
I mean, he's gone, and everyone that saw it has been traumatized by it.
I don't understand. I don't understand how the how his history can possibly override the fact that he was murdered on national television.
Right.
Yep. Anything before had nothing to do with that moment. Nothing.
Right.
I'm just amazed, Angela.
I think that's why he's going down.
Okay.
I think he is going to be the sacrificial goat in this situation. I'm not going to call him a lamb. In this situation, because it was on national television, and there's nothing they can do to help the community unsee what we saw.
Absolutely. The world unsee it.
Yep.
Which is why there was such a visceral reaction.
Right.
You doing all right, Angela?
I'm doing really good. Just keep our part of the country lifted up. Just keep praying. I'm still concerned about COVID taking on different face.
Be concerned.
Coming back even stronger. So
Yeah,
just
be
be in
concerned.
prayer for the country.
Thank you, Angela. Talk to you soon here.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And last caller for the day is Sharon from Dallas. Hey, Sharon.
Sharon.
Hey, how are you?
Fine. Welcome to On Point.
Thank you. Listen, I'm going to reclaim my time for next Saturday morning. But I have a lot to do, okay?
That's
God
cool.
bless you.
She said she gonna reclaim her time.
Right. Call early.
Call early, girl.
I will.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you. How many minutes we have?
We're done. It's
We're
10
done?
o'clock. Yeah.
All right. So tomorrow we invite everyone, of course, to 8 a.m. worship, 9:45. What do we call that?
Engage live time.
Engage
I gotta put
Live.
that in there.
Okay,
Engage live
Engage Live from 9:45 to 10:45. And then we have our 11 a.m. service, and then at 6 o'clock in the evening, we're 10 times better.
Yep.
Our pre-discussion begins at 5:30.
Yep.
The conversation message begins at 6, and then we have a post-conversation around 6:20. Looking forward to you joining us. I want you to email all your prayer requests to social@gotobethany.com. That's social@gotobethany.com. And also, please subscribe to David G. Evans 1 and BBC of NJ on YouTube.
Yep.
Subscribe to my DGEMS and OnPointe podcast platforms. That's DGEMS, DGEMS, and OnPointe. All right. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Going to have a great time in the Lord. We're still in chestnut checkers.
Yes, sir.
Man, this thing's building up.
Yeah.
I don't know how to let it go yet, Pastor
know.
Nick. But it's, we'll see what God does.
Yeah.
Remember now, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you. See you next time on Point.